The things that you think are going to be traumatic in your life and are devastating are really not that devastating if you really leverage and use the lessons out of that to propel you forward.
Not every battle has a success story, but every success story has a battle. Hi, I'm Tia Minzoni, CEO and co-owner of luxury private jet company Stella Jets, a serial entrepreneur, a survivor, and your host of the Fight to Fly show. On Fight to Fly, I sit down with the world's highest achievers who share their incredible stories and lessons they've learned on their own fight to fly. Expect to be inspired, entertained, and motivated to break down the barriers between you and your high-achieving success story. Come back each week for a new episode and be ready to empower yourself to give your dreams wings. Welcome to the Fight to Fly show. Welcome to today's Fight to Fly show. Today we're here with Rebecca Contreras, President and CEO of AvantGarde, author and social entrepreneur. She's worked under President Bush, and she's here today with her daughters, Crystaline Lopez and Elicia Guerrero. Ladies, welcome to the show. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you, Tia. It's so good to be with you. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from Austin, where we're located. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, a bunch of Texas women. You can feel the power in the room, right? Awesome. Well, I'm glad y'all came in today together. I know it's really important to me to, help women see their potential and bring up their potential. But as a mom my daughter's the VP of my company, Stella Jets. And I know as a mom, you love having your daughters involved in everything you do. And y'all really have been doing some amazing work together. So I'm excited to share your story with our audience. And let's just get right into it.
All right. Ready.
Right. So I want to start with talking about kind of who you are and how you got here. And if you can give us a little bit of your background and story, I think that would be a great start.
Well, so I am, I'm a border town gal. I'm from El Paso, Texas. And in my book, Lost Girl, I depict my whole story, but I'll give you the 50,000 foot version. So I'm one of 4 children, Tia, and a single parent home. My mother struggled with a lot of issues, addiction and just mental illness and all the things that come with, all of that. And went through a significant amount of abandonment and, grew up without a father. And in a very aggressive way, he sort of spiraled out of control in my own life because of the trauma that I endured as a child, and was raised by my grandmother. My mother left when I was 5 years old and was on the streets, and, really went through a lot of challenges, and very early in my life thought I had no value as a girl. And, we deal a lot with women that don't put value in themselves and what that does mentally to us, emotionally, traumatically. But at the age of 17, ended up pregnant with this wonderful angel. And, at the time thought it was a devastating thing for me. It was out of a really abusive relationship with a man that had taken advantage of me in my teens, and he was in his 20s. And I tell the whole story in Lost Girl. But, I always believe that things happen for a reason, and that the things that you think are going to be traumatic in your life and are devastating are really not that devastating if you really leverage and use the lessons out of that to propel you forward. And in my case, my little daughter here, Crystaline, was born 36 years ago and was just an angel that God sent into my life to get my life on track. And I entered a welfare to work initiative. I was in abject poverty in Austin, and worked for a woman by the name of Ann Richards, who was a very powerful, iconic woman in Texas. And it was the first time I saw a woman empower, Tia, and it fired me up.
Yeah.
And, met an amazing man who was doing community outreach in the inner city, and now my husband, David, who 34 years later, we're still together. Really started my journey on transformation, and the whole story is in Lost Girl. But I'm a really lucky and very blessed gal to have had a lot of good people in my life to really show me the way forward. And it's something I dedicate my life to today.
Yeah. I love your story. Of course, I have your book. It's still sitting by my bedside, and then I have it here, right? Love it. Love this book. I always tell everyone about it because there's a couple things that really stand out. And you talk about being pregnant at 17, and it seemed like it was going to be a devastating time. But at that point, you had to make a decision on what you were going to do with your life, and if you were going to let this devastate you or motivate you. And I think we sometimes don't give enough credit to those small decisions that we made. It just feels like I just did it, right? And I just had to do it. I had no other choice. No, you made a decision to do it. So, and you talk about that in your book a lot, about different things that you did and you made a decision to do, and it changed your life. And I think that's what brings a lot of those powerful people in, like Ann Richards. And your book, you went from broke and impoverished and a pregnant teen to working in the White House to millionaire entrepreneur. And none of that would have happened if you didn't make a decision to invest in yourself and to take those next steps and really push yourself. So that's really admirable. And I love that you are also giving that to your daughters, have given that to your daughters so that they can become these powerful women as well.
Well, I think it's important, Tia. We have a lot of mess in our country. We have a lot of mess in our communities. And I think, in my case, I led with my mess and dealt with my mess, and then led with my mess, and then allowed the issues and mistakes and trauma and abuse and addiction. I struggled with drug addiction for several years and, didn't, again, have value in myself and wanted an escape mechanism, and that was my escape. But I really allowed all the lessons of my past to really help propel me forward. And it was those moments of deliberately making a decision. I'm sick of being tired. I'm sick of being poverty. I'm sick of being in poverty. I'm sick of not having a family, and I want my daughter to have a father. I don't want her to grow up in abandonment like I did. There were so many things going on in my head and in my spirit that I really felt like I needed to, make that transformation. And the whole story is in Lost Girl, and I really share it in the raw and in the real. So it's a brace yourself book. There's a lot of crap in there, but hey, it's all good. I tell people, keep reading the book. There's a good ending to the story.
But it's so transparent.
It is.
And that's great. That makes a great
Well, that's
story.
the only way I rock and roll is transparency and authenticity. It's the only way I live.
Well, you're like me, and you love bringing up other women. For us, I always want to help women, no matter what age, break the barriers that are keeping them from living their highest achieving life. And a lot of times that starts in the youth. We do a lot to help put a new face on aviation, speak to young girls about becoming pilots and stuff like that.
Love it.
And y'all have, the three of you work with your own nonprofit where you're helping young girls. Can y'all tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So Crystaline, my daughter, has been on my staff for 8 years now. Yeah. She's part of the AvantGarde team, our consulting team, and she's also leading the Girls of Legacy initiative. So I'll let her tell you about that.
Yeah. It's let's reverse. So however many years ago, maybe up to 15 now, my parents started a nonprofit called Launchpad. And so from the get-go, they have been working with at-risk youth, inner-city youth, specifically middle school age, high school age, and families, connecting the parents to the kids and having parent and children initiatives or father-son initiatives, really focusing on if we can get to the kids and the parents and the home unit, then we can make real impact, because we all know it starts in the home. This breakdown of society and all of the problems we have all start in the home. And so been doing that through Launchpad for years. And it wasn't until Women's History Month of last year when we launched this brand new initiative that we're super excited about. I'm a mentor and I run the program, and Elicia is also a mentor. She has a girl too. And we specifically focus on mentorship and scholarships for furthering education. So what we did is we identified some Title I schools. We connected with the administration and counselors and said, do you have any students that are disadvantaged but really have the ambition to further their education but maybe don't have the resource to, and without help wouldn't be able to go down a path of furthering their education? And so the girls were identified, we partnered them with mentors, and we're continuing to grow. And it's really, really exciting to see even the gals who started last year, now they're in college and university, and they're continuing with us. And so our goal is to continue and walk through their entire university years. And then of course, when they graduate from the program, they get to turn back and give back and mentor the younger ones. And so we just onboarded some new high schoolers, which we're really excited about. And so, yeah, it's super fun. We focus on overall health in the mentorship program. So we tell our mentors to really, dig into their world. Like, tell me what's going on at home. Talk to me about your family dynamics. What are your goals? What are your passions? What do you want to pursue? And then we really come around them and say, how can we resource you? Let me, give you some practical tools on how to balance, all of the family stuff going on and your studies and your emotional and mental health. And so we like to focus on the holistic health of the student and really challenge and push them and cheer them on. I mean, that's the biggest thing is women need to cheer other women on. And really in 2024, I was going to say 2023. Oh my gosh.
We're just barely there.
Right? We're like right there. In 2024, it's so hard being a teenager. I cannot imagine being in middle school or high school right now with technology, with social media, with being able to, in a minute, with one click of a button, to see the worst problems and the worst devastations on the other side of the world. Like, can you imagine how overwhelming that is for our youth? And so we really, really want to prioritize not just their furthering education, which we do that practically because we scholarship them, but we want to zone in on their whole soul health, their holistic health, mentally and emotionally.
And Girls of Legacy was just in Forbes and Fortune, so we had a whole feature in there. And I do want Elicia, my niece daughter. So I took this girl in when she was 17. And she's had quite traumatic situations in her personal journey, but I'm super proud of her. She just released her first book where she's talking about her poems and getting her passion and her heart out there in terms of the trauma she endured. But she's mentoring a young lady that has a similar story to yours. Why don't you talk about the young lady you're mentoring?
Yeah, so just going back, I'll go all the way back to when I was a teenager. I pretty much was probably the first Girls of Legacy. We could say.
Technically,
family.
But in the family, right? I was dealt a different hand of cards probably with my life. My mom, she struggled with alcoholism and just living in a home with someone with addiction. It's very traumatic. It's different. You go a different way. Chaos is, great to a person, I guess, and you want more chaos. And a situation happened, and my aunt and uncle decided to make a choice to have me live with them, to give me that just boost. She's got to graduate at least. I was not going to graduate. There was no way I was going to graduate. I wasn't even close to graduating. I had different friends around me that were going to kind of give me that love that I was missing at home, I guess. But they took me in. It was a completely different lifestyle than what I was used to. It was structure, right? It was different. And I was introduced to God as well, which was really different as well. But my aunt, was very determined to have me make it. And I did. That seed was planted then. And now,
we got her off of welfare. She's a very successful recruiter.
Yeah. So I did get pregnant, very young as well. And I just didn't give up. I didn't give up. So I advocate for women constantly to just never give up. And I've had, oh my God, so much just thrown at me at times. And there's seeds that are planted for a reason. And eventually, they bloom and they blossom. So with my girl now, I've lost quite a bit of my bloodline. My dad, my mom, my grandma, grandpa, that was really close to me. And with this young lady I'm mentoring, she just recently lost her dad. So I'm going to be there to support her. And that's where that initiative comes, which is being their support mentally, emotionally. And just basically, I'm a Rebecca Contreras that she was to me.
It's an amazing story. And I think when you try and mentor someone and you haven't been through what they're going through, then a lot of times they just don't accept it, or you just can't connect. So, I love that your story and your life brought you to where you can help other young girls. So, and I know some young girls who are living with an alcoholic mother, and it's constant chaos, and they don't know anything different. And, we pray for them and hope that one day we'll be able to reach out to them and they'll be as amazing as you are now. So I love that you're telling that story, and also it's empowering, right? So
Absolutely.
as long as, and especially when we're kids, you know, because we're taught to be loyal to our family and loyal to our parents no matter what, and sometimes you're breaking inside, but you don't want to be disloyal to this family that you've been taught to be loyal to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so, you know, seeing that you were able to break that cycle and get out and start a new story of your own is really inspiring.
Yeah, I absolutely. And I constantly just tell myself just all the time, are we going to become wise? Or are we going to stay wounded?
Yeah.
Do it all. And I just continue.
Made a decision, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And she's
Yeah.
a single mom, and she's got a big heart for single moms, and I'm super
Absolutely.
proud of everything she's
Absolutely.
accomplished.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I was not going to, going back when I was younger, I was not going to, I didn't want to keep my son at the time, but my aunt, because that seed was planted and she was in my life, she's like, he's going to change your life. You have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, this decision is going to be the hardest one you make, but it's going to be the best decision you make.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah. It sounds like y'all are really empowering a new generation of young women. And I think a lot of that comes from, you know, people talk about, well, you have to take responsibility, and it sounds like heavy, but when you take responsibility, you actually gain control in your life, and that's so empowering.
Absolutely.
So I love that y'all are doing that with the next generation.
So important. And listen, we all go through mess, and we all have issues and trauma and family issues and, you know, marital issues and relational issues and in business, right? People fail. And, you know, I've been really blessed to be very successful as an entrepreneur. I was talking to a woman last night that I was having dinner with who, you know, has the failing forward strategy. And of course, I love John Maxwell's book, Failing Forward, because he nails it about how to fail forward. And so, you know, it's not about the failures of your current or even your past. It's about what you're going to do with it in your future. And I'm super proud of both of my girls. And I also have a 30-year-old son who is in LA, and he's bigger than life. He's a producer and a music producer. And he lives his life in the same way, with grit, with resolve, with tenacity. And, you know, it's so important for us to give that strength and that support to the next generation of our leaders.
Yes,
Our
for
kids.
sure, for sure. And you know, you mentioned a couple times like going from welfare to successful, and I think there's a lot of, and this is my opinion, so nobody like at me in the comments, but I think a lot of times there are young women and even middle-aged women who have been reliant on welfare, and they just don't know how to get off of it. It's not, you know, there are people that have no motivation, no ambition. There's going to be those people out there, but a lot of people just don't have the tools to know how to take control of their life, take responsibility, and get out of that situation. So I love that y'all are doing that on a small level, and I can't wait to see y'all just spread that and do it on a bigger level, because it's so empowering to have that in your life.
Well, listen, my mother was a generational welfare recipient. And she did not want to work. She was perfectly capable of working. But when she left her drug addiction and took us back in, my grandmother gave us back to her when I was 9 years old. And, you know, for the first time I lived with my mom, a functional person, not an addict. But she was on welfare her whole life. And it devastated me because I could not understand why. Welfare is there to help. It helped me. It helped you temporarily. But, you know, she was capable. She was willing. And I said to myself, I remember this at 19 years old, saying, I will never stay on welfare my whole life. I want something for my daughter.
Yeah.
I met my husband who's bigger than life, and he's like, you're not going to Goodwill anymore. I love Goodwill, and I still go to Goodwill, by the way. You can't make me stop going to Goodwill. We both love
Y'all
it.
should check out the one here in South
Listen,
Lake before you leave.
hey,
Buying
on
that.
the way out,
Yeah.
we will go there. But
That's
I go to Goodwill today because I want to go to Goodwill.
Right.
Not because I feel mentally that I have to go to Goodwill.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
And so I'm all about, our whole life has been dedicated to giving back.
Absolutely.
And to serving people.
Yeah.
But it's the mentality
Yeah.
and it's the
You have
structure
to.
of changing that.
Absolutely. You have to really structure yourself because the system will keep you there
Right.
and you will stay.
Yeah.
You know, like daycare was so expensive, but I had CCMS, but I couldn't get that raise because if I got that raise,
You'd lose your-
I would lose
Yeah.
She
everything.
called me one time, Aunt Becky, I don't want to take this raise because I'm going to lose my food stamps. And I'm like, girlfriend,
lose everything.
you should absolutely, your priority is get off those food stamps.
Yeah.
Take
Absolutely.
that raise. And
And
now
I-
she's making six figures,
Yeah.
is a badass,
Yeah.
and killing it.
But I struggle, you know, did I have
Yeah.
to cut down on, just grow, just I had to change my life. You have
Yeah.
to, you have to switch it up, basically,
Yeah.
and that's it. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
But when you jump, there's it's just a completely different world once you
Yeah.
take that leap.
Yeah, you're right about childcare though. It is really, it's so hard to pay childcare and all of your bills as a single mom.
It's
I get it.
difficult. So it was just a decision.
Yeah.
Am I just, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I did it, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And there's support. You just have to talk. I think that's another thing is you get scared, you're ashamed, and you can really get in your own head and really bring yourself down.
For sure.
But you have to talk to people.
Yeah. And I would say if you don't have someone in your life that you can talk to that can help you, like these ladies had each other, reach out to some of the communities, reach out to people at your church, find people who have done what you want to do, and just talk to somebody, because you'd be surprised on how encouraging that can be. And I know there's a lot of people out there that don't have a support system around them. They don't have someone that can help them reach their goals, but so many people, just like all of us at the table, would be happy to jump in and help, encourage you and give you some tools to how do they reach out to you guys and to your group?
Yeah, so we're on RebeccaContreras.com. I have a lot of tools on my website, kits around resetting your life, transformation. I provide the first chapter of my book for free so people can understand what the story's about. There's training tools. So we are all about empowering people, and specifically women and girls. It's just my jam. And, I love watching women succeed and soar in their career, in their life, and in their journey.
And what if someone wants to, do y'all take donations or anything for Girls of Legacy? What if someone wants to get involved and volunteer or donate to that cause?
Yeah, so Girls of Legacy is a match program. So I personally match every dollar that comes in. So for the scholarship money, we have 12 girls in our program right now, all from the Austin area. And if somebody gives $20, it's a $40 scholarship. So everything doubles with my match. And so I always encourage people to give. It's a 501c3 through Launchpad. It's available on RebeccaContreras.com, and then go to the Girls of Legacy, click. There's a little bar there on Girls of Legacy, and they can support that and match. Right now, I have 8 women that are mentoring my girls. They're all amazing businesswomen. Both of my girls mentor as well. And so we do have, we're at mentor capacity with the girls that we have. But if you're interested in being a mentor or volunteering, then send an email through RebeccaContreras.com, and we'll be in touch with you.
Awesome.
And it all goes to the scholarship.
100%. We don't have
So
paid
we
staff
don't-
through the nonprofit.
We do not pay ourselves. All of our mentors are volunteers. They donate their business community leaders donate their time into this, and so it 100% goes to funding our
Yeah, and I can tell you a lot of nonprofits can't say that they have 100% of their money that goes to the child. But
Yeah.
in our case, because God has blessed me with financial success and a great business, everything runs through the business, and the nonprofit is 100% self-sustaining for the girls.
Love it. Well, you are changing the world one young woman at a time, and thanks from all of us for that. So, and where can they find your book?
So it's an Amazon bestseller, so it is on Amazon. If you get it through RebeccaContreras.com, it will come personally to our team, and I will personalize the book, and we will get it to you. So the only benefit of ordering it through the website is you get a personal note from me, and I personally know who you are when you order. Of course, the big Amazon, is available for everybody who doesn't want to go through the website. But yeah, I do hope that people get a hold of it. It's a story of hope. It's a story of inspiration. It's a story of power and transformation. And I love to hear over 300,000 people have connected with the Lost Girl message, and I love it when people connect with us.
That's amazing. Okay, so we have like 5 minutes left. Tell me what's next for Rebecca Contreras.
Well, I am growing the business. I'm focused on AvantGarde and growing the business. We are growing at a rapid pace. We have 130 people now across 9 states that are serving across our predominantly government clients. So I came out of serving Ann Richards, K. Bailey Hutchison, and the last boss was George W. Bush, both as governor of Texas. I ran his personnel office, and in D.C. I was just with the president in May, and he read my book and
wrote me a nice little note about it and talked about how it impacted him. Really loved President Bush. And of course, we're here in Dallas where he is.
Yes.
But yeah, so, I'm dabbling with the idea of potential run for office. We shall see. I feel like the state of Texas could use a different kind of political leader. But I'll be making that decision this year. Haven't quite made the decision to jump all in. Yeah. But hey, listen, you can't work for Ann Richards, Kate Bailey Hutchison, and George W. Bush. Three iconic Texans did not get the bug.
Right.
I dedicated my whole career to public service, and so we shall see what that holds.
Oh, I like that. Head on it. Well, congratulations on all your success this far, and I'm excited to be a friend and be able to, really follow and support. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. I believe in you, by the way. Love. I'm a part of your journey too, and I love what you're doing here. And love meeting your daughter. Amazing.
Fantastic.
And so I love that you guys are working together. So Godspeed to all that you do in Stella Jets.
Thank you. I am so excited to see what these next generations do. The millennial generation, the Gen Z generation. I just get so pumped up because they're just so smart and empowered and like nothing is going to stop them. So I just absolutely love watching our daughters and granddaughters and everything they do. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching Fight to Fly, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Fight to Fly. And don't forget to subscribe for even more motivational content and lessons from high achievers. We love to hear your feedback, so be sure to comment and rank us below and tell us what you got out of today's show, be it a laugh or a lesson. And catch us next week on the Fight to Fly show.